From the National Weather Service in Raleigh, this is the Nick Petro with your weekly impact weather briefing for Central North Carolina. And I appreciate you joining us this morning here, Monday. It's actually a holiday, Columbus Day. Happy Columbus Day to everyone. This weekly briefing covers the period 14th through the 20th of October, and this briefing applies to or addresses Central North Carolina weather. So I appreciate, again, everybody joining. All right, so let's just jump into this slide. It's not going to take terribly long because we don't have a lot of major weather going on. It's fairly low impact. We had a cold front swing through, earlier today, and we're going to see high pressure building in behind that, and pretty fair weather, really, and more seasonable temperatures through the daytime tomorrow. There is a weather disturbance moving across the southern portion of the country. And that weather disturbance, I think, may have roots in a tropical system way out in the Pacific, a few, many days ago, weeks ago. And that system, I think, when it was out in the Pacific, weakened and got caught up in the westerly flow. And now the remnants of that are skirting across the southern half of the country. Nevertheless, that weather disturbance is going to lift that front that just moved through back to the north. And you can see that on the on the midweek panel. Notice here, you can see the cold front. I'm going to highlight this here. Whoops, wrong tool. Meant to grab the highlighter. You're going to see that cold front right here through us today, and notice it comes back on as a warm front midweek, and there's an area of low pressure right there, basically along that front. So that's going to bring some shower activity, maybe some rain if it's more stratiform Tuesday night and Wednesday, and then look right behind it. There's a cold front approaching from the west. And then look behind that cold front for late week, and big high pressure comes out of Canada and moves across the plains and the Mississippi Valley, and that's going to bring some dry weather for us for the late week period, and that dry weather pattern is going to stay right through the weekend. So, with such a strong high, and now it's the fall season, clearly, it's a cooler air mass that's moving in, so watch out for a couple chilly nights later this week. Wouldn't be surprised if a few of the normally colder lower spots that, the usual microclimates that get a little colder than most other locations could see a touch of frost even. I can't believe we're using that word frost here in mid-October, but I don't think there's going to be enough of it where we have to put it in the forecast or issue any advisories or anything, but just know that if you see a slight patch of it and you're in one of those little colder spots, don't be surprised. Other than that, really not much relief for our drought that's in place across the western half of the state. The last night's rain really gave the coastal areas a decent amount of rain, but we could have used that in the western half of the state, which we really didn't get, so unfortunately. So anyway, looking at the Storm Prediction Center Day 1 through 3 outlook, obviously no thunderstorm activity at all today. And then notice how that green creeps back to the north and west for Tuesday into Wednesday. That's that next frontal system that I mentioned earlier. But right now, we're not anticipating any severe thunderstorm activity with that system. All right. So looking at it another way with the rainfall predictions, these graphics show how much rain. Dry today, and you can see Tuesday and Wednesday, we're looking at some rain moving across the area. How much? Well, probably fairly light amounts, unfortunately, with really the coastal areas, once again, the locations that have the chance to see, rainfall amounts of an inch or more. I think for Central North Carolina, we're going to be lucky to get a half inch, maybe a 3/4 of an inch that's Tuesday night rather, into Wednesday. All right, so that's Tuesday and Wednesday, and look at Thursday and Friday. Those are dry with that big high pressure moving in, and then that high will shift offshore over the weekend, but we'll still be under the influence of it. So pretty typical pattern when the high shifts offshore that, brings a few isolated showers across the higher terrain, lighter rainfall amounts depicted there in this graphic, but dry for Central North Carolina over the weekend. When you add it all up, again, we'll be lucky to see 3/4 of an inch of rain across Central North Carolina, which is not much relief for the drought. Speaking of the drought, here's the latest update as of last Thursday. These are released every Thursday, so we'll have an update to this 3 days from now. And most of Central North Carolina, that is a D1 drought, which is a moderate drought over in the western part of the state, basically from I-77 westward is where you see a little bit, some patches of severe drought. So not much relief for that. Tropics, really nothing that's much of a concern for North Carolina, so I won't spend a whole lot of time there. And that pretty much wraps up our weekly briefing. You could see the details there at the bottom. And while that's a point forecast, it'll be within a few degrees either side of that across much of central North Carolina. So just kind of wrapping it up here, cold front will move through, or has moved through, I should say, and look for seasonable weather, fair weather through tomorrow, daytime tomorrow, and then nighttime tomorrow and into Wednesday. That weather disturbance I spoke of earlier will bring some showers and maybe some light rain, depending on the type, and that'll be Tuesday night and again Wednesday. Maybe a half-inch of rain if you're lucky. Most places only see about a quarter-inch of rain. Okay, and then that's accompanied by a cold front as well. Behind that cold front, big high pressure moves in, fair and cooler weather for the latter half of the week and weekend. Don't be surprised to need a couple extra blankets Thursday night. Look at those low temperatures there at the bottom there, Thursday night in the low 40s. Again, that's more of a sort of a semi-urban temperature there. If you're out in the cooler, more rural, low-lying spots, it could dip into the upper 30s. So watch out for that Thursday night. And that'll probably be a case again Friday night as well. And then the weekend right now is looking pretty good with a gradual moderating trend as the high shifts offshore. So really basically dry Thursday through Sunday. And I think the state fair starts later this week, right, Tom? I've got our newest meteorologist here with me standing alongside Tom. You want to introduce yourself? Take a second to introduce yourself to the folks on our webinar.
Hi, my name is Tom Green. Like Nick said, I'm the newest meteorologist here at the National Weather Service. Lived here before. I was here for middle school, high school, and college, so I'm familiar with the Raleigh office. Did some student volunteering here when they first started up that course. Did a couple of years up in Upper Michigan, spent about a decade up in Pittsburgh, and it's nice to be back home in warmer and sunnier North Carolina.
All right. Well, thanks for that introduction. Brian said, welcome to the party, Tom. So
Thank you, Brian.
gave some feedback. So anyway, there's our weekly briefing for Central North Carolina. Again, thanks for joining us. And yeah, we got the state fair getting going here later this week, so should have a good start weather-wise for that. So with that, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call, and this briefing will be emailed and uploaded to YouTube. So thanks again for